This is section 1.6 of Math 2's notes on exponential to radical form. I first want to just have you notice the rule right here that says if you have a to the 1 power, it turns into a to the nth root. And the power right here on the a would be 1. So we would want to make sure that we know that the power here is 1, which is where the 1 over n comes from. I like to remember which one goes where by looking at the n that's on the bottom, and notice that it's got to be in the low spot. It's on the bottom of the fraction. It has to be the low spot on the radical also. So a to the 1/2, the power of 1 would be on the a, the 2 would be in the crevice here, but the crevice on a square root, we know this symbol to be square root. That crevice in there is always a 2. But we don't always show that right inside there is a 2. We just leave it blank. Okay, here's another example. 25 to the 1/2 power is equal to the square root of 25. Again, that's the power here of 1 and the 2 here from the fraction, so 1/2. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to try it ourselves. We're going to rewrite this. So we have x to the 2/5 power. Draw your square root. Or your radical, I should say. Put your x underneath there. The high power stays up high. The low one goes low in the crevice. So 2/5 power. This would be read as the 5th root of x squared. Let's take a look at a couple more of the examples right here that we're going to rewrite on our own. We're going to do 10 to the 1/3 power. Again, just draw your radical. Put 10 underneath there. The 1 was up high, so it stays up high. The 3 is the bottom of the fraction, so it goes in the low spot there. And you have 10 to the 1st power cube rooted. Same thing on this next example here. 7 to the 1/2 power. Draw your radical. Put your 7 under. It'll be 1/2 power. Really, when we look at this problem right here on that 1/2 power there, I don't have to show the power of 1 on the 7, and I don't have to show a square root has a crevice number of 2. So I really can just write this one like this. Alright, one last one on this top part right here. We have 4a to the 1/2 power. This again is the power that we're going to use. All of this goes under our radical, so we have 4a underneath there. All of it would be raised to the power of 1, but I don't have to show the power of 1. And the crevice number would be 2, which is automatically what happens in the square root, so I don't need to show that. Okay, this next problem here, we're going to go the opposite direction. So this time we have the cubed root of 4 to the 1st power. I want to draw that 1 there so you remember what number is going to be there. We're just going to rewrite this then as a power. It would be 4. The top number is going to be 1 because it stayed up high, and the number in the crevice would be 3. It goes down on the bottom. Same thing on this next problem here. Let's talk about the power on the a. It's a 1, and the number in the crevice would be 2 because it's a square root. We automatically know it's a 2. So the power here would be a to the 1/2. To keep going along the side over here, we'd have the square root of 8y. The power on the 8 is 1. The power on the y is 1. So we could write this two different ways. We could go 8 to the 1/2 power, y to the 1/2 power, or we could write that as 8y all raised to the 1/2 power. Either direction on that one would work. Here's this 4 times the cube root of m. That 4 doesn't have a power on it at all. The power on it is 1. So then we're going to use the power on the m, which is a 1, and the crevice there, which is a 3, to get m to the 1/3 power. So 4 times m to the 1/3 power, but you don't have to show the times sign there. This next one, 4096 to the 2/3 power. Again, let's just write it. We're going to do the 4096 to the 2nd power cube rooted. We can actually just take a minute and put that on our calculator if we want to, because this one will probably give us a nice number out for an answer. So go ahead and raise that to the 2/3 power, or take the cube root of 4096 squared. And when you do that, you get 200 256. So you could write that as 256, or you could leave it, because it said to leave it in radical form or exponential form, we would leave it like that. All right, this one's a little bit different because the power on the 9 here is 1, but the power on the n is 2. So if we're going to exponents, we would have 1/4 for the 9, but on the 2, we would have 2/4. That 2/4 can reduce, so we could actually write this as 9 to the 1/4 n to the 1/2. All right, we have a couple of problems left down here at the bottom we're going to do, and then we're done. So this time, if I have 4 to the x power equals 4 to the 12th power, what does my x have to be? My x has to be 12. Over here, I have 3 to the x power equals 2187. So we can just guess and check and start raising 3 to the powers to try and figure out what it is. So on my calculator, I just did 3 to the 5th power, and it was 243. That's too small, so try a bigger one. 3 to the 8th power is 6,561, so that's too small. I'm sorry, too big, so go smaller. Try 3 to the 7th power. 3 to the 7th power is equal to 2187. So my answer here is 7. Thanks for watching. This again was the Note Taking Guide 1.6 for Math 2 class.